Hi, my name is Weng and my metric number is 263190. The title of my experiment is the reliability time for the complete melting of ice cubes containing different substances. Let's dive right into the introduction. Water is made up of molecules that constantly move. When the water temperature is lower, the molecules will move slowly, and when the water is cold enough, the molecules will travel so slowly that they can form strong bonds and the water freezes, forming ice. The melting and freezing points of pure distilled water are both 0 degrees Celsius. Water molecules in an ice cube will melt and then freeze at a steady pace at this temperature, keeping the ice cube in a stable solid state. Many compounds that dissolve in water will lower the freezing point of the water, allowing it to remain liquid at lower temperatures or melting frozen ice. The quantity of change is determined by the substances. The impact is known as the freezing point depression, aids in the removal of ice and snow from roadways throughout the winter months. So, the problem statement in this experiment is that the salt and sugar lower the freezing and melting point of ice cubes by dissolving into liquid water within the ice and lowering the freezing point from 0 degrees Celsius to below 0 degrees Celsius. In an ice cube, the salt and sugar absorb the surrounding heat energy quicker than frozen water itself. Water molecules move faster because salt and sugar absorb heat so easily, causing it in a faster melting rate. Due to the heat absorption, the ice cube containing salt could melt faster than the ice cube containing sugar. In this experiment, the ice cubes containing different substances such as sugar, sand, flour, baking powder, and salt will be observed for 16 minutes to check if they will completely melt within the observation period. So the objective of this experiment is to measure the reliability time for the complete melting of ice cubes containing different added substances. The subjects that used in this experiment include ice cube containing sugar, ice cube containing sand, ice cube containing flour, ice cube containing baking powder, and last but not least, ice cube containing salt. The event of interest in this experiment is the complete melting of the ice cubes containing added substances. So the materials used in this experiment are tap water, sugar, salt, flour, sand, and baking powder. The tools that being used included measuring spoon that is 1.25 ml, measuring bottle of 75 ml, refrigerator, ice cube tray, stopwatch, and toothpicks. So the timeline for the experiment is happened on 28th of October 2021 from 5 PM to 6 PM. The procedure of the experiment starts with 1.25 ml of sand is measured using the 1.25 ml measuring spoon. Then 5 ml of tap water that measured using 75 ml measuring bottle is poured into an ice cubicle of the ice tray. After that, the sand is poured into the ice cubicle of the ice tray containing the tap water. Steps 1 to 3 are repeated using sugar, flour, baking powder, and salt. After that, the solution is put into the refrigerator that sets at maximum temperature for 1 hour to freeze into ice cube. After 1 hour, the ice cube tray is taken out of the refrigerator. The ice cubes are being observed from 5 PM to 6 PM, which equivalent to 60 minutes to check if they completely melt within the observation period. If the toothpick can be placed above the ice cube, it means that the ice cube is not completely melted. On the other way around, if it can be put inside the cubicle, it means that the ice cube is completely melted. The stopwatch is being used to record the time when the ice cube is completely melted. So here are the video of the procedures of the experiment. Alright, so now we are seeing the result of the subjects. First one is the ice cube containing sugar. During the 60-minute observation period, the ice cube containing sugar melted completely at 32 minutes 19 seconds. This means that the observation is not censored because exact data is collected. We can see from the picture, the toothpick can be placed inside the cubicle, means that it completely melted. Secondly, is the ice cube containing sand. After 16 minutes of observation period, the ice cube did not melt completely. This means that the observation is type 1 right sensor because the event of interest does not happen after the end of the experiment. Therefore, the reliability time for the complete melting of ice cube containing sand is 60 plus minutes. We can see from the picture, the toothpick can be placed above the ice cube, means that it is not completely melted. Thirdly is the ice cube containing flour. Again, after 60 minutes of observation, the ice cube containing flour did not melt completely. This means that it is a type 1 right sensor observation because the event of interest does not happen as well. Hence, the reliability time for the complete melting of the ice cube containing flour is 60 plus minutes. We can see from the photo, the toothpick can be placed above the ice cube, means that it is not completely melted. Next is the ice cube containing baking powder. Again, after 60 minutes of observation period, the ice cube containing baking powder did not melt completely. This means that it is also a type 1 right sensor observation because the event of interest does not happen after the end of the experiment. So we can conclude that the reliability time for the complete melting of ice cube containing baking powder is 60 plus minutes as well. We can see from the picture, the toothpick can be placed above the ice cube, means that it is not completely melted. Lastly is the ice cube containing salt. During the 60-minute observation period, the ice cube containing salt melted completely at 15 minutes 38 seconds. This means that the observation is not censored because exact data is collected. We can see from the photo, the toothpick can be placed inside the cubicle, means that the ice cube is completely melted. So what are censoring? When there is insufficient information on a person's surviving time, censoring happens. There are few types of censoring, including right censoring, left censoring, interval censoring, and double censoring. Okay, first one is the right censoring. It is a data point exists a specific value, but the amount by which it exists, it is unknown. In the right censoring, it can be classified into 3 types of right censoring. First one is type 1, means that the event of interest is observed only if it occurs before a predetermined time. Second one is type 2. It occurs when an experiment has a specific number of subjects and the experiment is stopped after a certain number of subjects fail. Third one is occurring when other competing events cause the subjects to be removed from the study. Next is the left censoring. It occurs when an event of interest happens before a specific time t, but the exact time of occurrence is unknown. For the interval censoring, it occurs when an event of interest is known to have occurred between times A and B. Lastly, we have double censoring, which is a dataset containing left and right sensor data. So this is the graph of the reliability time for the complete melting of ice cubes containing different added substances. The full black dot means that the data is not censored. However, the empty black dot means that the data is censored. So the x-axis for the graph is the time for ice cube completely melting, which is in minutes. The y-axis is different types of substance that added into the ice cube. So from the graph, we can see that there are 2 not censored data, which are ice cube containing sugar and salt, because they have exact data collected. However, there are 3 type 1 right sensor data, which are the ice cube containing sand, flour, and baking powder, because after the end of the experiment, the ice cube is not completely melted. In conclusion, The completely melting of ice cubes containing sugar and salt are not sensor observations because they have actual record time, which is 15 minutes 38 seconds and 32 minutes 19 seconds respectively. We can conclude that salt and sugar can lower the freezing and melting point of the ice cubes. However, the complete melting of ice cubes containing sand, flour and baking powder are type 1 right sensor observations because the event of interest, which is the completely melting of ice cubes, did not occur even after the end of the experiment. The reliability time for complete melting of the ice cubes containing sand, flour and baking powder are 16 plus minutes each. Hence, it can be said that sand, flour and baking powder do not lower the freezing and melting point of the ice cubes. These are the references for the experiment. That's all. Thanks for watching.